Hello, it's Gary Peplow again from Yucaipa CERT. We're having such a good time in this, taking care of the community and everything. But I wanted to point out, I'm about to make a video for training. Now, we've already shown one, what we can do with IR, and I'll link it to this video. But to be able to use this IR, or infrared, from the new drone that we have, you really need to have some experience looking at the videos. Now, I went out and I took video of the Green Spot Road Bridge and Mill Creek, so you can see what they look like. Now, when you look at the Mill Creek one, there we were able to get two people to let us use them as models. So they're in there, and the real idea is try to find a way so that we can accurately find somebody if we're searching for them. So take the video's long; it's about 30 minutes. You can just cut through and look at whatever you want. But I thought each spot shows a different way of looking at the video and looking at the infrared palette to see what's going on with it. So the more that you know about it, the better when we're out there looking for somebody. And yes, I truly believe that this could save a life. So if you have a few minutes, chew on them, and you may be working with me or one of the other pilots. And let me remind you too, the pilot is not supposed to be searching. The pilot of the drone is keeping safe. The visual observer is watching for aircraft. So you may be holding the iPad or watching the TV or wherever the feed comes from. And so, yes, I would of course see somebody if I could, but you may be the person that's going to save the life because I'm just flying the bird. All right, so thank you, and I'm going to put this on. Just enjoy the music if that's it, all it ends up to be is music for you, as far as. Right now we're looking at the Green Spot Road. It's a Camelback truss bridge, and it was actually moved from the Mojave Narrows up in the desert. But we're going to look at how it looks under thermal. You can see in the corner there, you can see the set of rocks that are very, very hot, or hotter than the rest of it. And I got some surprising things I saw. We'll see here in a little bit, but just chew on this image. Now here's another view of the bridge. I know you've seen it before, but I want you to really watch what's going on. Look at the rocks. The rocks are white. Look at the road. The road is dark. Look at the beams. Now also make sure you watch the cars and everything else that go along with it. But all this is going to be important when we look under infrared. All right, now look at this. You can see where the heat is. Where it's a cloudy day, and you can see where it's orange. It's hot. Look at the road. Look at the road on the bridge. Look at some of the girders and stuff. But notably, look at the white rocks. The white rocks are cold. Now the reason why is because they're white. It's really important when you're out looking for somebody under infrared to know the terrain, what's going on. Now, one of the things I would do if it were me and I were running the search is I would go out and find the conditions, and then if I'm looking for a person, I would take one of our people out and put them out in the same condition so I know what to look at. This is infrared without the enhanced visual. So it gives you an idea of what's going on with it and how it works. So we're moving along a little bit more here. Again, like I said, you can mix infrared with visual. The problem is that it only really works if there's visible light out, which is, that's obvious. This is just another look at the same bridge, of course. Again, both bridges. It's I want to get you used to looking at the way things look in infrared in comparison to without infrared. So you can see how the road is hot. Now the bridge, think about this. Why would that bridge be cooler? You can see that the road stops. For those of you guys who know, there's air going under there, and the air is cooling the bridge down. That's very, very, very important. And you can also see if somebody was under the bridge, they would be cooler too. Well, maybe not. As I'm looking at it, if there was someone right there under the bridge, maybe they'd be warmer and show up better. But you can see the difference that the construction makes, and also if it's got a way to cool. And again, look at the rock. Now I have to say that if you can see that mountain on the side right there, it's away from the sun, so it's going to be cooler. So let's just go ahead and look at this a little bit. I'm going to go back the other way. This time I plan on showing you another palette. Now, again, I want to make sure this is a visual. We're looking at visual right now, and you can see the haze. Imagine if this were a hot day or a very cold day, and it's pretty much guaranteed you get temperature right, you're going to find something hot like a person on a cold day, unless they're wearing a coat or something like that. But now we're not looking at a hot day. I mean, at visible light. We're looking at grayscale. And again, this is a totally different thing. You see that car there on the right coming down? You can see that it's a different scale. Now, remember, I'm also mixing visible light with infrared. Again, I want you to chew on the image first. That's why I give you a little bit of time to look at it. But now we're going to look at something called hot metal. Hot metal changes things again in a different way. Look at the way this looks. Again, I want to go back and I want to look at the difference. Look at how cold the rocks are. Look how cold the rocks are. Look at how something else really cool there. Do you see the road? As the road gets further away, it starts to get cooler, but it's not really getting cooler. What's happening is the distance from the sensor is causing it to the energy not to make it does. So now we're looking this way. You can see the rock. The rock is cool because it's in the shade. Now this color palette is called Cold Spot, and you're going to see a totally different thing altogether because they're looking at mainly what's the coldest. Now look again, see in the distance how it starts to get colder the further away the land or the target or the landscape is away from the drone, because the energy, that's still pretty warm. There is a lake out there, but because of the distance, the energy is not making it to the sensor. But you get, again, this really shows the rocks being cold. Now we're going to move on to Mill Creek. Now as you can see, I'm moving along here, and there's two people there who said that we can go ahead and video them. Now we're going to watch for the coldness of the water, the coldness of the plants in comparison to the rocks. Not so much the rocks because they're white, but to the rest of the terrain. But you can actually see the ripples of the water. Now as we go over this area, look again. You can see them, our subjects, the people who are in this film them, you can see them playing in the water there. This is also enhanced. This is visual and infrared light put together. So it draws a line. It gives a little profile of each one. But look again, look at the rocks. Oh, and here we are. Now we're looking at them again. Look in the corner before we lose it. You can see the woman swinging her arms. Now when we come back and look at it, you're going to see the woman swinging her arms again. Now that brings up another thing. We are more likely to find people that are moving. Now there she is. Look down the corner. We're going to find people that are moving more likely than people that are sitting. So what I think would help while we're doing this is to have our microphone on or our speaker on, telling everybody, all right, we're here, we're looking for you. Now here we are, we're looking down on the stream. This is again Mill Creek, and you can see the woman sitting on the rock over there and the one standing on the rock. Now we're going to change the color palette, and we're going to see this several different ways. But watch again, because we're mixing infrared with visual, it's going to give us a mix. It's going to outline what we're looking at. All right, now watch this. I find this really cool. We're going to look at our subjects here, and it's not, thank you for letting us look at you, but look, you can see the rock is cooler, but she's a little bit more distinct, but it's more because of the outline that the camera gives. The other one looks a little bit warmer based on where she's at, but again, look at where the hot spots are. The hot spots are places where there's no vegetation. You can see the vegetation is cool, which is really important now if we're looking for somebody and they're in one of those hot spots. If they're cooler, they're going to show up dark. But if it's cold, they're going to show up. They're going to show up a little bit hotter. It all depends on the color palette too. So now we're going to go look at it again at a different color palette. Now this is hotspot. Hotspot is, again, it's a different way to look at it a little bit. Um, but you can see where the hottest spots are and the coldest spots are. But what's important is to tune it in with temperature, which I'll show you later. But after we've done that, looking at hotspot, or depending on the palette, we're going to have to decide what's going to be the most effective palette to look at. Now, as you can see here, again, there's a lot of things going on here. We have the water's cold, the terrain. It shows all the different temperatures, but now look at this. That's what normal IR looks like. You can barely see our subjects. You know where they were. Now, is it going to be harder to find them without enhanced? But maybe at night, if it's cooler, it'll be easier to see them. So as we're doing this, we just want to make sure that we take all the variables into account that are going to make us successful. Oh, here's one. Look at another palette without infrared. Now you can see it's a little bit hotter. But the rocks are about the same temperature as our subjects. Look at that. And she was even moving and we couldn't see it. So there are some limitations, and remembering that this is a 6-year-old technology. Later on, maybe we'll be able to buy another one with better technology. But you can see where we're at here. Well, we're going to move now to just look at terrain. All I want you to do is to see the difference in terrain. And again, I want you to imagine you are looking for somebody. Are you going to be able to find them? So we're going to look at different ways to see this terrain. Looking at the stream, looking at the mountains and the vegetation. Are we going to be able to find somebody? Well, I definitely we're not going to find somebody if we don't know what to look for or how to look. Of course, we've already seen that we want to use enhanced whenever possible. But now let's just watch a different couple of views of the palettes that we're going to be using. And remember that the palette we choose may be the difference between finding the subject and not. But you can see them. Look, right there. That's infrared. That's infrared. But it doesn't have the enhanced capabilities. It's not mixed with visible light. So now we're going to leave and get a bigger picture and then look at the mountain. Again, this is infrared. This isn't enhanced. So that's that mountain we were looking at. Imagine trying to find somebody there. And this is on the shady side. Now that is enhanced. By looking at enhanced, we get more of an idea of what's there. Now we're going to look at the road up Highway 38. Well, now again, like I said earlier, we're going up Highway 38. I want you to look at the mountains and everything now. Look at where the stream is. Look at the road. I want you to predict what you think it'll look like. And we're going to be looking at it hot metal, okay? So what color is the road going to be? What color is the stream going to be? Under hot metal, that's what we have. Now you can see that sign off in the back. You see that off toward the middle at the bend of the curve. that is the sign for the national park to let you know where you're at and everything else, so you can see the color it's at. Again, the road is well, if you look there, I guess I would say that the road is almost the same temperature as the rock and terrain. What's really making a difference is we are looking at enhanced visual. By looking at enhanced visual, we can see the difference. Now we'll go back to it again, and then we'll look at it from another palette. Now we're leaving Mill Creek, and just thought I'd go ahead and let you see what the drone sees as it gets closer to people. Remember, it depends on the color palette, but you're going to be able to see the cars, what the road looks like, and again, a view of the area from a different altitude. Now remember, the higher you are, the less energy that makes it to the sensor, which means that it's going to be less reliable. You know what? You can see we're bringing it back in. It's a mirror of the other one. You can see the stream over there. It's cold. You can see the road. But this is IR. This is not enhanced IR. So we are going to need to use enhanced IR whenever we can. Now we're coming back and look at us. Those are the cars that we have. And we're looking around again. I really want you to get a sense of the difference between looking at IR and looking at enhanced IR. By the way, you notice that the sky is really blue. That's because there's no radiation or very little radiation coming from it. You can see that the river is blue, or the Mill Creek is blue. You can see everything else is pretty hot. Now, if we were to change temperatures, maybe it'd be different. And I can actually see, because I remember from the video, but you can see our subjects there. They're moving around. The difference is, though, is if you didn't know they were there, would you be able to see them? Now to go for a little bit of urban stuff. This is my house, and you can see into our backyard. There's nothing private or anything about it. Anybody can see it. It's very easy. But you can see Becky moving around down there. You can see the house. When we do urban search and rescue, oh, you can see the dog. See the dog there playing? But when we do urban search and rescue, we're going to have to do this. Now, the problem with this, though, is that with urban search and rescue, you scare everybody because nobody likes drones, well, understandably. So we need to be ready to talk to our neighbors. And if we're going to do extensive search, we need to probably knock on people's doors around the area. But here we can see this is Cutter, and you know Jeremy, you see me running around down there. This is what it looks like on enhanced. Now you can see Becky moving. See her there? And then you see Jeremy coming out with Cutter. Now they're playing Frisbee, so we're going to get closer. But see, he's throwing the Frisbee out there. You saw it? The Frisbee was very, very clear to me. Now we're keeping in mind that Cutter is hot and the grass is very cold. That's going to make it easier to find somebody. But we'll watch my get zoomed in here, and yep, there I am. I'm getting ready to land it. Running out of energy. Yeah, and Becky, by the way, just there, she probably stopped me from crashing into a tree. Pretty amazing. That's what her job is. All right, so now we're looking at them still playing. And so just watch them, get an idea of what a subject is going to look like if they are clear. And remember, this is an enhanced view. This is a totally enhanced view. Now, I am going to keep it running. I know there's a lot of redundancy. You're seeing a lot of stuff. But the more that you get used to seeing it, the more likely you're going to find a subject. But you can see Becky out there moving around. She's moving around so I can get this video. Oh, and by the way, one of the reasons why I have equal lengths is that while I'm shooting infrared, very coolly, is also shooting visible light. So it's shooting both at the same time. Again, I just want you to see what people look like moving. And you did notice that the gimbal, that's the part that points the camera, it was pretty jerky. That's because depending on what's going on, oh, see, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Now that's at only about 40 feet. And there's Becky. Cutter's paying attention, waiting for the frisbee. Boom! He got the frisbee. So yeah, again, I am purposely leaving this here so you get an idea of what it looks like to look at a subject. So far we've been looking right now at enhanced. That's with visible light and infrared. What an amazing camera. But now watch what happens here. We're going to go just to infrared. It makes a big difference, doesn't it? Technology is amazing. But again, here we'd probably easily find somebody because they're moving, and that makes it much easier. And now let's change the color palette a little bit and see what that looks like with another color palette. All right, so, oh, now look, I think that this was an easier way to see them. So this is cold spot. So the grass is cold and they're warmer than the grass. That's crazy, right? All right, so again, we're gonna have to tune everything in based on what we're looking at, but change with more experience, choosing the right color, the palette and everything else. That's crazy. Isn't that neat? Now we're just going to look at the neighborhood. These are all in urban search and rescue. We're going to have to understand what the terrain does. Remembering this is a cloudy day. You can see the clouds in the air. It's going to be totally different on a sunny day. And again, if it's one of our winter days where it's cold enough to keep everything really blue, if there's something hot like that car back there moving, we will see it. So again, we're going to go out and just look at what the area looks like in an urban setting. Please remember what you're looking at now, because it's going to make a difference later on. Now here's the Yucaipa School District. You can see we have that field, then we have the parking lot, and we have the building. In fact, that building there right in the center is where we did our last training when we were at the school district. All right, now we're looking at enhanced. Now that's the Yucaipa Valley water. Look in the ditch down there. If there was a child in there, would we find them? We have to know a lot about IR. We need to know, have a lot more practice with this. But look at the buildings. Now, if you notice, see the blue buildings that are cold compared to the ground? Those are all buildings with reflective roofs. All right, and you can see the trucks there and everything else. Imagine again if this was a cold day, everything would be cold, and we might be able to see somebody. Now we're going to go by the district again. Look at the field. The field is generally cold, but look what's hot. The parking lot is hot. Look at the building there. Do you see the buildings? They have cold roofs. And if you remember when we looked at them, the roofs are white. Now look out in the distance. Do you see all the cold roofs, and then do you see the yellow roofs? That's the difference between putting on having a reflective white roof like the one I have in my house. It makes a big difference. Again, this is enhanced. Now we're moving on to the last big one. This is the neighborhood, just looking at the houses. And no, I don't fly over the houses. I make it pretty clear about that. My neighbors would not like it if I did. But we're coming in and looking at, now you should be able to see the big difference in these two roofs. Generally, so you'll know, everybody out there, you can fly wherever you want, but I try to keep myself at least 100 feet over someone's property. I'm not 200 feet, and then I never go into stay in one place and watch somebody's property. Never, because I want them to know I'm a good neighbor. So now here it is again, same thing. Look at that red hot street. Do you see it over there on the left? All right, now below us are containers. Those containers have black plastic over the top of them, so they're getting hot. But you can see the difference. And look at my roof compared to my neighbor's roof, because mine is reflective. Now, as we go in, you're going to get a chance to see me landing the bird and see what it looks like to look at somebody close up. And yes, I'm having a great time. Now look at that. Do you see the wall? That wall is made out of granite. And so, well, basically here it is. This is where we're at. Just looking around. This is what everything looks like. Okay, this is a bonus. I thought it would be interesting for you to see. I'm actually holding the UAV, the drone, in my hand, and you're going to get to see, yeah, that's all for me working, getting ready for this. You're going to get to see what people look like at close up, and the parts that heat up during and are giving off energy. Okay, this is cute. This is Cutter under infrared. See how hot he is compared to everything around him? Look where the heat's coming from. And then we're going to go in, and yes, again, it's all messy there because I was working on this video. But look at this. Becky and Jeremy are studying, but look at where the heat's coming off of them. And you can see where Becky's chin there is at. That's because the heat is building up there because her head was down. All this stuff is really important. Look at Jeremy's beard. Jeremy's beard holds heat, so it's red. If you remember this stuff, it's going to make it easier to find somebody.